Today, you guys, we're going to be hearing from three incredibly talented portrait photographers, Felix Kunze, Denice Duff, and Bambi Cantrell, their secrets for outstanding portrait photography. What are the key things that you use every time you pick up a camera or even before you pick up one? Like, how do you approach a shoot?
How do I approach a shoot? So the first thing is I'm always going to be hoping for, if I'm in the studio, I'm going to make sure I have very little ambient light or just enough ambient light to get focus.
Okay.
Because I want to, so when I take that, I always take a test frame when I get into the studio. I set the camera usually at aperture 5.6. My shutter speed is going to be like 180 and my ISO is going to be 200. And I'm going to take a test shot and I'm just going to see how much ambient light is there in the studio.
Okay.
That's like people write me and they ask, we have this online community called Lighting with Felix Kunze on Facebook. It's a group. And a lot of people ask like, oh, I don't know. I took a picture with artificial light and I don't know how much ambient light. So the light that's already there from the sun or whatever is in my picture. And I said, well, just take a photograph with the same settings of your camera without your flash firing or without any of the light that you intend to be on the subject, and see if that's black or barely visible, then you're in a good place. So in the studio, That's what I do. And it's a really easy tip. You want to, I like kind of the way I teach also is take it one step at a time. So if you arrive in the studio and you're setting up a light, you want to make sure that you have a blank slate. So set your camera at 5.6, ISO 100 or 200, depending on what your camera's native ISO is. And then my shutter speed is usually at 180th of a second. And if I can get a black frame at those settings, I'm good to now set up my lights. I don't do anything until I have that.
Okay.
So if you have a lot of sun beaming into a studio, for example, you're going to have a lot of light on your subject that you can't control.
Right.
So you want to maybe block that off or start like that. So that's a really clean slate. And then when I arrive at the studio, so what I tell photographers, so we have all lighting classes online, and I usually shoot with one light. I shoot very rarely with just one light unless I'm on location. But what I like to tell photographers is that once you've got a light set up, the instinct is just to point that light directly at your subject and take a picture. And I know 99% of people who try this in the studio immediately become discouraged because it will look just absolutely atrocious. Horrible. So, there's a lot we can get into with lighting, but the biggest tip I have is the solution out of that is get yourself out of the mindset of just pointing the light directly at your subject and realize that the light is in a 360-degree, three-dimensional space. So it can move in any which way. Right. And the exercise for anyone that wants to learn lighting, they would not need to take a class. They would not need to do anything else, is set up a light, get your subject and put them in one place where they're looking at the camera, get a friend, sister, husband, wife, someone who's willing to sit there. Dog is tricky because they don't,
that's true.
Because the fur absorbs all the color,
Yeah.
And if you were to just take the light and move it inch by inch in all different places, all around the subject, and just see what the differences are as you do it, right? Every time you take a picture, you can see the difference. Then you could angle it up higher, angle it down lower, bring it up higher. There is an infinite amount of positions that a light can be. And people tend to get stuck in pointing it directly at the subject. And if you did that, it's a great exercise.
That is really good.
What is this all about? Actually, I shot this in a hotel room when I was in Paris. You'll notice that the background is just simple, just a clean, simple background. And let's talk for a moment about what she's wearing. This is nothing more than a piece of fabric that I bought in New York City for $10. And you can't tell, but on the backside, I just stapled it together to form a skirt.
I would
it's
never
stapled
know that.
Really close to the body, all the way down. She's actually standing on my camera case, and it's covered. And then I bought these feathers in San Francisco at one of the fabric stores in the city. And all I've done is just stapled it to a piece of ribbon that I tied around her waist.
Unbelievable.
It only has to look good on camera.
Yeah.
So why do this? Why do this kind of thing? Well, I like to do these kinds of imagery. It's because of the experience. The experience is as important as the click of the shutter. You see, if the client loves the experience and they go, oh my goodness, well, my photographer created something really different. You will not believe she took some feathers and she just stapled a piece of ribbon to them and tied them around my waist. And this is what we got.
That is so smart, Bambi. Because it is about that. I mean, when you're selling your work, it's the whole package. It's how they feel when they're being photographed by you and how they come away from that.
And what I really like about it is I love having clients come back and go, oh my goodness, Bambi, I can't believe you did that. And they will refer friends to me based upon that experience. So it really goes a long way to creating a unique brand that transcends time, that gives you longevity. I've been in the photo industry now for over 30 years, and it really is so important more than ever to keep myself fresh with new ideas. So I continue every day. I'm looking for images that kind of spark my interest and that I can learn. I don't copy them, but I use them as reference points. Like right now, I have a photo shoot coming up in 2 weeks for Metropolitan Bride magazine. So I'm in the middle of creating a mood board for that. And so I go to Pinterest. I love Pinterest because you can type in a variety of scenarios or things, and then it'll give you a picture ideas. And so I pull them into a folder that I will share with my makeup artist and my hairdresser, so we can start pulling together ideas for creating a unique experience.
Okay.
Tell us about what the lighting is and what's going on with this shoot.
Sure. So this is natural light. She is in front of a doorway. So she's sitting in a doorway. So the light that's coming on her is natural light. And to the left of the camera, there was just a little light on a stand. It was just a light, just a still light, not a strobe light, just a little still light that, because her hair is so thick,
right,
I wanted to just fill it a little bit. Normally you wouldn't need to. Like if you just cover the frame with your hand, if you cover that part of her hair, it would still be okay, but it just gave a little something. And it gave a little bit of kick to her body and her waist. Behind her is her daughter holding the round scrim, the round like white reflector.
Oh, okay.
So not only the model herself is holding her own piece of foam core. That's the piece of foam core. So she's holding her own, and that's what that's doing is it's kicking some light up. You could see the reflector there. Let's see, hold on. There you could see the rounded reflector.
Oh yeah.
Right. This was just this actually the color correction on this is a little different. But there you can just see the reflector.
Right.
And so I retouched out that reflector. So
right,
it's the same lighting setup. Yep, I just cropped up above. But what that's doing, and she is an older woman, and so to have that beautiful light coming from above while she's being shaded from the top. And that's what's the beauty of being in a doorway, is you don't have that downward light coming down, because what happens is the eyebrow creates this ridge and you get a dark shadow under the eye.
It's always great having you guys with us. It means so much to me to have your support. Hey, listen, if you haven't already done it, please subscribe, enable the bell, like the video, share with your friends. We want to get these videos out to the whole world. Leave your comments. I read every one of them. I try to respond to them all. And listen, stay safe, stay well, and remember to get out and capture your own images of life.